100 years ago, the jukebox was the first innovation of music. So it was jukebox, it was radio. As we speak, for me, streaming is the highest evolution of content in distribution in music. If streaming is the highest evolution in distribution, there will be more than streaming. What is the next evolution? What can now make you global? And it's deliberate actions in collaboration.
How can a creator position himself to build communities, and why is it really relevant?
Community ultimately is a survival need. Communities do not form because you open a WhatsApp group and put people inside. That's not a community, that's a WhatsApp group. Communities form around impact. People come to community for a sense of belonging. There's something they don't have somewhere else, so they come to a place where they can find it. So the community that you want to create, it has to be meeting a need.
It's really wonderful to be doing this with you all here. I mean, one of the things that I strongly believe in is, just like Mr. Obiasika rightly mentioned, is that it's Africa's time. And the opportunity that actually exists for creators has actually begun from Nigeria. Because I like you said in one of your articles recently, that Nigeria is the custodian of African soft power. You know, and that really got me thinking, you know, because we've actually led the charge as a nation, and there are lots of issues that happen as a result of this growth, you know, and that's what I'm hoping that we would dive into, because like the topic of our panel is the golden age for content creators. It's a question, and I'm hoping that as a result of the conversations that goes on this panel, we will be able to maximize our various experiences and expertise and the roles that we play to help draw out insights, you know, and information that could help chart the next course for African creators. So I'm here with various interesting panelists, and I would like to just give you each 1 minute to introduce yourself to the audience the way you would better be introduced for your nations. But I'll start with Salem.
First of all, thank you so much for having me here. It's always, I'm always honored to be able to share. So my name is Salem King. I'm a creator. I make videos about the things that make me mad. And I hope that people learn stuff in the process. So for the most part, I'm just looking to shorten the journey for somebody else, you know, with creativity and just being a creator. What I'm always thinking is, this thing that took me 5 years, how do I make it take 1 year for someone? And that's stuff that I apply to all the content I make. I make content teaching people, mostly creative people, or people who don't know that they are creative. In watching my content, you will find out that you actually have it, you're just lazy. So those are things that I talk about. And in the mix, because I don't want to hate myself, I also make content that I like, you know, about things that make me laugh. And I think it endears my community to me and just keeps us going in an interesting way. So that's who I am.
All right. Over to you. Okay, maybe we will use...
Thank you. Thank you very much. My name is Tai, not Tia. Tai Shittu-Alamu. Communications officer, like they announced earlier at the World Intellectual Property Organization. We call it WIPO. WIPO is the UN agency that serves the world's creators and innovators. My background had a lot of freelancing. I, at a point, was an entrepreneur myself. And my vision then was really I had this mission statement that was to build indigenous African ideas, companies, you know, individuals into global brands. Did that for a bit. And then eventually joined WIPO because you know how you can be a fly and you can really go so high, but a fly in an airplane goes way higher than a fly on the ground just because it's in the airplane. So attaching yourself to a system that has exponentially more reach than you can as an individual helps you make, you know, a lot more impact. So I'm able to serve creators and innovators in a way that I didn't know I hoped to, but I couldn't as a solo entrepreneur. And so, yeah, I'm here with WIPO now as communications officer. We try to really take IP and make it simple, everyday language to creators and innovators, really. That's why I am.
All right. Thank you.
Hello, my name is David Adeleke. I run a company called Media Company and Advisory Firm called Community. And essentially what we do is we're building what we call the knowledge bank for Africa's creative economy. And so Community exists in 5 dimensions. The media product started as a newsletter, and then we have market business. We have the academy, the Community Academy, which is the Community level set. We have the matter of fact, right now as I speak, we are running a bootcamp, a visual journalism bootcamp, visual storytelling bootcamp for journalists in Lagos. And we have, of course, the Communicate Fund, which we're working on to be able to invest in creative enterprises and projects that are focused on exporting Nigeria's culture all over the world. I used to be a journalist. Now, like I said earlier, I made the foolish decision of starting my own or running my own business. I hope I don't die in the process, but if I don't, then I think it's going to be an amazing success. So I'm very happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to sharing some of the things that I know with you.
Boy.
So first of all, I want to thank Elijah for bringing me and this team. Can you clap for them? This is the 3rd time I'm here. They named TMCon after Tochukwu McFoy conference.
Oh my, a round of applause for him.
Just for me.
Just for you. It was
Just for
made
me.
For you.
My name is Tochukwu McFoy. I'm a medical doctor, and it was in med school that I got Dr. Foy. So that was it. Just my surname. So Dr. Foy. What do? I'm a super connector. I have many 9-to-5s. I own something called Energize Group. I'm a founder, and we've been able to do stuff in the gospel space. We have a deal with Sony Music, so I'm trying to build bridges across. I also co-founded Elevate Africa Media. Who knows about Elevate Africa? And we're trying to tell African stories. So we've had Davido, we've had Tenny, we've had everybody, Juliet, and yeah, that's what I do. So I'm a storyteller and a super connector. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Tochukwu McFoy, the one who we named TMCon after. I mean, he's kidding. TM actually means technology and media. But anyways, so, I mean, I think my first question actually will go to you, actually. So basically, we have creators, right? Typically trying to start out, and especially the fact that you manage creators, you help them draw parts. You are a creator yourself, you know, and a lot of them are trying to build sustainable global brands. What do you think is the missing ingredient right now? And do you think we can still successfully build global brands considering the platforms are not local?
Okay, so I will come from 3 different angles quickly in 3-4 minutes. So let me start from where most people know me from, Energize Music. I was speaking to T.Y. Bello about a month ago, and I said, T.Y., 100 years ago, the jukebox was the first innovation of music. So it was jukebox, it was radio, it was vinyls, it was tapes. Tapes made it portable. It was CDs. It made it commercial. Then there was MP3. Who did MP3? MP3. Then there was bootleg. All of us did bootleg. Yeah, and then there was what? There was Spotify, Apple. So there was streaming. And as we speak, for me, streaming is the highest evolution of content in distribution in music. So I was telling T.Y. Greatman that if streaming is the highest evolution in distribution, there will be more than streaming. What is the next evolution? What can make you global? See, if the distro, the distribution is now global, what can now make you global? And it's deliberate actions in collaboration. Deliberate actions in collaboration. And I'm not saying perfect content. I'm saying deliberate action. I was in DC for a conference, and I met the Nike guy, one of the Nike, and he said that right now Nike is doing they spend more money doing mobile phone videos than expensive. Why? Because they see that if we can have deliberate collaborations, quick collaborations, faster collaborations across the world, it will work. So the first thing is, don't think you are alone. It's now global. You're global in a local world. So people like, I was in Uber singing or Malay. I'm like, oh, you don't even know what you're saying. But it's happening. So that's the first one. The second thing I'll say is understand platforms, but understand it in a way that is different. I'm a fan of, is this Salem or Salem?
Salem.
Salient. I'm joking. And why am I a fan? Because I've seen him drive consistency. Black and white for a long time, then he changed it when he had money. But number two is consistency. Listen, guys, it might take you 50 to 60 posts to get it. I'm just being honest with you. It might take you, when Uncle Obiasika was saying that Wizkid was a star, had done 5 years before it came out, it might take you a long time. That's the number three, which I'm now beginning to learn in collaboration, is don't joke. I'm talking from experience. Don't play around with the old guys. Like I know you're Gen Z, you're cool. Guys, don't play with the older ones. Or who knows Pete and Baz? You know Pete and Baz? You don't know Pete and Baz? Do you know that the song with T-Pain, do you know what he did? There are 70-year-old rappers. My point is, right now, don't think that digital media is for only the young people. It's not for only the young people anymore. It's for anybody. So make sure you work with every generation, because they have money. You don't. That's it. Thank you very much.
All right, I think that was actually a very good one. Thank you very much, Tochukwu McFoy. So I think my next question will actually go to Salem. Salem, I mean, you are someone that I think has been able to build communities, and you always speak about the importance of building communities as creators, because, I mean, I was reading an article recently the Wall Street Journal wrote, and they were talking about the number of creators that they have in America, and I think they were about 27 million. Yeah, and then they had about 40-something% of them were doing it full time, right? And that means there are lots. First of all, that means there's a whole lot of creators. I mean, first of all, if you have 27 million followers, man, you are big. But then you have 27 million creators. That's crazy, right? I feel like saying like that, guy, say, damn. No, but how, and you've spoken about community and the need for creators to build communities. How can a creator position himself to build communities, and why is it really relevant in this day and age?
That's a great question, a question that I love to answer, because community has become this buzzword in marketing now. You know, everybody, companies, tech companies, musicians, everybody's saying, you know, create a community, create a community. But that's not all it is. We need to think about how we think about community, right? Community ultimately is a survival need. Has everybody heard about Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Let's know the people that went to good schools.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard about it, I'm going to explain. So this cool scientist from 100 years ago studies, you know, human psychology and creates a frame of reference for us to know what are the most important needs of man, right? The most important is physiological needs, food, water. The next is safety and security. Third, most important need, without which your life is not worth living, is a sense of belonging. This has existed since as far back as human beings have existed, since the Stone Age. People needed to be in tribes, you know, to be safe from wild animals and stuff like that. That has now come to the modern day. People need community. So, for example, the majority of people in my community, as a creative person, are people who studied, say, accounting in school, and they want to pursue something creative, and their entire family is not in support. Because, like, you studied accounting, why you they carry camera? You know? And I am able to create an environment where other people have support. And that comes from me understanding who my target audience is, and understanding their problems. So this is work that a lot of creators do not do because we're only thinking about the next Instagram video and how to make it viral. But you need to be thinking about who is this for and what are their problems. So the community that you want to create, it has to be meeting a need. People come to community for a sense of belonging. There's something they don't have somewhere else, so they come to a place where they can find it. That's the reason why people go to church. It's the reason why people are at this event right now, because there's something you needed that you didn't get from Instagram, you didn't get from YouTube, you didn't get from school, you didn't get from your parents. So you came to an event like this because you're going to get it. Creators need to understand that that's the power we now have in this world. That survival need that people have, how do I create the environment for people to have that? So we also need to change the way we think about numbers, if that's what we're doing. Because so every time someone reaches out to me and says, Salem, I want to grow my followers, I ask them, how many followers do you have? And they say, only 500 or only 1,000. I ask them, imagine there were 500 people with you in the room where you are now. Or I also ask them, okay, out of your 500 followers, tell me the names of 20 people. And most of them can't. And it's like you're trying to bring more people to the table when you've not fed the people who are at the table already. So we need to change how we think about numbers, about community, and make sure that even if you have 500 followers, you are treating each person as an individual. You're thinking about, okay, what's this person's problem and how can I reach out to them? It's from there that community then expands, because one person tells three people tell their own groups of 5 people, and that's how communities grow. Communities do not form because you open a WhatsApp group and put people inside. That's not a community, that's a WhatsApp group. Communities form around impact. And in order for you to make impact, you need to understand your audience and how to meet a need that they can't find anywhere else. That's the best way for people to think about community and get it right.
Wow, thank you so much, Salem. I think we deserve a round of applause for that. That was a quick course in community building. My next question actually goes to Tai. I mean, you are with WIPO, right? I've known a lot about the work that WIPO does. You've actually participated in our conference, even the last edition. I think right now in the age of AI, there's the whole, I'm sure you expected that question, because then again, what can we talk about if we're not talking about AI, especially as regards to intellectual property? But also, I mean, from a foundational understanding and considering the age of AI, how should we be thinking about? Because, I mean, number one, we within this context haven't even taken intellectual property as serious. Then AI now comes into the game. It's like the conversation has gone from 0 to 1,000, right? And it's almost like, first of all, you don't even take it seriously. Then AI comes into the game. You've gone to a new complexity. So how can you please simplify it for us on why it's important and how we can go about protecting ourselves as creators? And if there are ways we could also engage with people.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Maybe first, before we even talk about what to do with AI, it's even first to understand what is covered within the purview of intellectual property and what it is. It's really simple. Intellectual property refers to the creations of the mind. Whatever a human being creates is classified as your intellectual property. Now, the whole point of intellectual property rights is really to say, okay, can we put a fence around what you have created so that you are able to get the reward that is due you for the effort you have made or you have put to create what you have done. It's really that simple. Everything that has now grown out of it over the course of human history has kind of tried to meet human evolution where it is. I'll give an instance. Now, the whole idea of, for example, copywriting and what we have as intellectual frameworks came about from conventions. Let's not do a lot of boring stuff, but you can read the whole history of it. So you had, for example, let's say the patents are, IP rights that are offered to you for creating an invention. Now, how did this whole thing come about? You had people saying, okay, we're coming to exhibit our inventions in the whole industrial revolution, all of that. But how is it that, or how am I sure that when I come and showcase my invention, Somebody else from Norway who is also coming here to participate doesn't see what I have done and then goes back and copies it, you know. And so you have those kind of problems emerging. Remember, Industrial Revolution, things are popping up, and we're saying, I'm putting so much effort to create the light bulb, but I come to showcase it. How am I sure that somebody else doesn't go back, see me demonstrate the technology behind the light bulb, and then goes and reproduces it? And so we create a whole framework that says, if you take the effort to invent something, you have 20 years to be the sole, you know, maker of this thing and sell it. After 20 years, it goes into the public domain. People can use your technology and also make money off it. But because you put in so much effort, you put the brain into it, you put the effort, you have some time to be, you know, to have a monopoly, essentially what that is. But again, the point I'm trying to make it met human evolution where it was, right? Now, coming down to where we are, AI is really just a tool, like every other tool has popped up in the course of human history. And it is simply a tool to enable human creation. It will not and cannot replace human creation. It is a tool. I equate the whole scale of AI with graphics design, for example. At a point, people used to do graphic design manually with lithographs and all that, and printing presses, and you churn out this thing. And so imagine when a word processor came out, and you say, oh, you can type on a keyboard and have a printer print out your pages. And somebody says, will it replace my lithography work? No. Just go and learn how to use the word processor and use that instead of winding the printing machine. So will AI replace you as a designer? Of course not. But you have to change the tools of your trade. That's just what it means. But intellectual property will always cover the creations of the mind. We generally have you have copyright, you have trademarks. Nothing within all these frameworks will ever say, oh, AI can replace it. No, it's a tool, right? And so as long as human beings are creating, they're using different tools, somebody has to use it. Somebody has to put in a prompt. Somebody has to give it a command. It's now, how can I be making the prompts work for me? Basically, go and learn the new tools, right, and use it to create. But so far as you are creating as a human being, you will be covered within the purview of intellectual property. I don't know if that helps, if that answers it.
Thank you so much. I mean, that was so powerful. I mean, I'm in such a powerful panel. My next question actually goes to you, David. We're talking about the golden age of creators, right? And obviously, I'm sure you know I'm going to talk about monetization because you just hit on it recently in one of your posts. One of your newsletters, right? You spoke about the fact that we need to create platforms for monetization. And I think on a private chat I was having with you two, we're talking about how most of these platforms are not designed, because you could see someone that is actually a full-time content creator and say, I'm going to be a content creator in New York. And it's a different reality from someone who wakes up and says, I want to be a content creator in Nigeria, right? Do you see the rise of new streams of monetization, and what way should we be thinking about it in this creator economy?
So monetization is oftentimes a function of economic reality. Not oftentimes. It is a function of economic reality. The reason why, for instance, if you speak to Tai Shittu-Alamu says this all the time, and which is why he has sort of, if you've been paying attention, he has pivoted from focusing on a Nigerian audience. If people can drag him on Twitter all you want, his market is different now, right? And that's because the economic reality of the Nigerian market is different from that of an American or a Western market. A YouTube view or a YouTube CPM is way, if you advertise on YouTube, is way more beneficial for the creator in the US than in Nigeria. And that's simply because of economic reality. Now, do we now say creators should wait until Nigeria's economy is at a certain point before? No. If you wait around, you probably never achieve anything. So what do? You have to create with the economic reality of an audience in mind. I will use Communique as an example, and we've had this conversation many times. When I started the newsletter, I was writing about the Nigerian media for a Nigerian audience, and things were going well. But then I realized, okay, you know what? I'm thinking long term, right? If I really want to do this thing in a way that will benefit me and benefit my audience, I need to zoom out and focus on an African audience. right? And that's when I started to see a little bit more growth. I think the first year of Communique, we were less than 1,000 subscribers. When we started to focus on Africa, then we grew to maybe, we actually hit 1,000 and started to grow. And then Substack themselves started to pay attention because now it's no longer this publication for a Nigerian market, it's a publication for an African market. So they saw potential in that, and then they gave us the grant for the fellowship. But then that wasn't enough. That wasn't enough. And then I started to think, how do I take this thing that obviously has value and make it something that will benefit, that will continue to benefit the audience, but benefit me as well. And then I realized nobody is really writing about African media for a global audience. Nobody's writing about the African, or nobody's doing anything for the African creator economy for a global audience. So I said, okay, you know what? I will carry this cross. And that's when things sort of started to blow up. You know, I mean, the relationship with the LinkedIn came in. They essentially supported us as much as they could. Substack too started to pay more attention. They put in a little bit more for us. And then partnerships and opportunities started to come from places that you normally wouldn't think about. So if you're approaching monetization as a creator, yes, there are opportunities in the Nigerian market. And for some creators, that is enough. But if you look at McAngel, the large percentage of McAngel's views and audience engagement comes from Latin America, South Asia, Southeast Asia. Some of it is from Nigeria and from Africa, but a large percentage of it is from outside the country. And that's why McAngel has gotten as big as he is today. And that's why, like Obi said earlier, for the last 6 or 7 years, he has been the number one, he has been the top dog on YouTube for a very long time. He's making bank. And that is because McAngel is doing things for a global audience, not just for a local audience. There are some instances where focusing on a local audience will pay you. For instance, look at Salem. Salem is balling. Salem's yeah. Don't do that.
Salem, you're balling.
Just got back from Singapore, by the way. But a lot of Salem's followers are Africans and Nigerians, right? And he's doing well. Look at Hilda Bassi, for instance. Hilda Bassi is massive. I like to use Hilda as a very good example because Hilda has been able to not just monetize her content, but she's been able to lay her businesses on top of her audience very well. The bulk of people who cook or subscribe to Hilda's are from Nigeria, right? Probably from Lekki, Lagos. But Hilda is doing really well, enough that she's able to buy a MacBook for one lucky lucky person who takes part in the course. You can buy a MacBook. That means you are doing well. Do you understand? So again, think about the economic reality of the audience that you're serving. If that audience is big enough for you, fine. But for someone like me, I realized, you know what, it's better to write about this part of the world for a global audience. That is going to position me better and it's going to benefit me better as a creator. But at the same time, it's going to deliver a lot of value to the people who are consuming the content. I hope that makes sense.
All right. I mean, my panelists have spoken so well, but I'll open it up to the now. Can I get 2 questions, preferably from a lady? 2 questions. Okay, is that a lady over there? All right.
Yes.
Can we get a mic across to her? And can I get a guy from here? All right. Make your question short. And please, you can direct it to who you want to answer your question. All right. Yes, she's over there. Please give her the mic.
Good afternoon. My name is Iyamo Saume. I'm basically not directing to anybody. Probably anybody can answer the question. So when we talk about content creator, there is advertising, there is influencer, making of videos on TikToks and doing your daily life and all. I feel basically they don't talk about event planning and management because it can be part of a content creator. For example, you are planning and as an event manager, you plan for events, but why do people not talk about it? Because someone like me now, I really have passion in that area, but they don't talk about it. And you hardly picture or find when people will say, oh, they don't add them to content creator. Why is it like that? Because I feel they are under the same category. Because I'm studying mass comm and there is a course under it for event planning or media planning, thereabouts.
First of all, I want to apologize to you We're sorry. Have you heard? We're sorry. But if you listen intently to Uncle Obiasika, he even said your professors, your lecturers are now content creator. You guys, can we throw away a word right now and go to the next level of word? The honest truth is that the next level is no more content creating, it's storytelling. That's the next level. Why? I'm a medical doctor. I'm a bookie. I'm a geek. I read on psychology a lot. Our minds have evolved. I said it last time I was here. My dad used to use Google Map to drive. He used to use map to drive. I can't use map to drive. My brain cannot cope. I'll have accidents. I even use audio to drive. Go left, go right. This is what I mean. If our minds, our hearts have soaked in content so much that the next level has to be what? Storytelling. So if you start storytelling events, I give you 5-6 events to reach out to you. Do you understand? But you have to now start, and storytelling is not about cost or camera quality. It's just genius. It's just being able to, for example, that guy, what's that guy, Kabi? Kabi tells stories without saying... Kabi, yeah, he tells stories without saying a word. So make sure the next frontier is storytelling, and it is being able to differentiate your content in the 1 billion published content per day.
Okay, let me just get one more question from here, and then we'll close this particular panel. Okay, someone's hand is over.
Yeah, so, I have a question here. So my question is directed to Salem, right? And the question is basically around community, right? So I recently had a definition of community, which means it's a people in a place driven by a common ideology, driven by a common philosophy, or driven by a common interest. And that gave me a perfect purview. But then I have a specific question, which is, you can actually build a community on a platform that is not for your audience. So would you advise that the first thing to do is actually build on where your audience is, or build somewhere where you can direct your audience to? Because I've seen people do both, right? I've seen people build outside of what people call the norm, and people still follow them there. But what would you advise to anyone who wants to build a community, and really, should they actually focus on creating a platform outside and expecting to drag people there, if I'm allowed to use that word, or actually build where people already are at? Yeah.
That's a great question. First of all, I don't know if you've tried to do this before, but it is very difficult to take people from one platform to another. Even on Instagram, right? Say you're known for Instagram content and you want to get people to watch a YouTube video, you will suffer. Because people who are on Instagram don't want to leave Instagram. And then a lot of times you have to build a separate audience, be consistent, pay your dues afresh. There's something a friend of mine said. They always tell you that you pay your dues, but nobody tells you how many times you pay your dues. So very often, if you have to build your community in more than one platform, you might have to practice the consistency you built in one place all over again on another platform. Do you get? It's work. Sometimes you may not be able to post the same content. You might have to repurpose stuff. You might have to go and learn from somebody, become humble, become a learner all over again. Do you get? Ask the people who were big on Facebook when Instagram came out. Ask the people who were big on Instagram when TikTok came out. And ask everybody when they found out that YouTube is where it's at. Everybody had to learn and relearn. So I can't tell you which one to do, but if you already have people in a certain place that you're able to, whose decisions you're able to influence in a certain way, then you should let it continue working. Because the beautiful thing about community here, like I said earlier, communities form around impact. A community will not form because you decided you want to form it. There are so many people that have gathered people, and put everyone in a WhatsApp group, and after a while, it's just silent. All of us are in one WhatsApp group that we really hate because it's becoming a nuisance. And you are just there, you know, in the estate WhatsApp group until there's drama. All of us have been in those situations because communities are not like that. But in the groups where you are involved, nobody has to say, this group is quiet now. You people are not talking now. People are not engaging. You actually engage because you're interested. It's connected to stuff that is important to you. So if you already have people in a certain platform who are already taking, actions in the direction that you want them to, and you're able to influence those decisions, I don't see any reason why you should want to move them. But if you do have to move them, understand that you're going to also be doing new work so that you don't now resent your audience, because that happens. People be like, I get 100K followers, I don't get 1K subscribers for YouTube, and you guys cannot even go to my YouTube. It's very difficult to do. But as long as you're willing to do the work, I think you'll be good. Yeah.
Okay. Please, Salem has a book called, you will not say it, but me, I'll say it. Salem has a book called Community. The U is YOU. If you are really interested in everything that he has said, I think you should get it. It's fantastic. And no matter the level you are at, it will help you.
Link in my bio at Salem King. By the way, please follow me, help my life at Salem King. Thank you. Highly recommend.
All right. Tai, any final words?
Well, two things. Two very quick things. I think since we're talking to creatives and innovators, Salem had said something in passing, but I think it's very important as the world evolves, AI and all that we're doing. And I think you want to try and position yourself outwards rather than inwards, right? Instead of thinking expression, you kind of always want to be thinking communication. You always want to be looking outwards. The world will change. What people need, I think it evolves, when people have sorted out the basic human needs on the Maslow hierarchy of needs, the truth is they start to get restless. Once you have sorted out food and clothing and all of that and shelter, then you start to want community and you want, people. When you sorted that out, you start to think of things a little esoteric. And so you have people thinking, I want to be green, I want to do organic food. You at least have food before you can say, I'm doing organic. So we can be value driven. We can think of saving the planet. We can do all that. Because we have the basic needs met. Okay, so people change and evolve. But you see, if you are always taking a mirror around, you're all about my content, my idea, my talent, my me, my who can I connect with, who will do my stuff, you'll be obsolete in no time. Okay, but if you are looking outwards, you are reading the room, you are reading what people are looking for, what content is, okay, what are people trying to hear? There was, the wave of this, there's economic downturn everywhere. What do people think? What would people like to hear now? As long as you are facing outwards, I heard somebody use the analogy, use a window instead of a mirror. So you're looking out through a window, looking at people and seeing what is needed, you will remain relevant. I can't tell you what tomorrow's technology will be, because every new technology creates a whole new room of possibilities, right? So we don't know. But you see, if you are positioning yourself rather to keep looking outwards and reading and, studying your environment and studying people, human-centered research. It's a big word that I think everybody should go and look at. Human-centered creation, human-centered design. It's a huge buzzword everywhere, because at the point we all realize, you can be creating, and people don't want what you are creating anymore because they're looking for something else. So read the room, read your audience, go out with a window instead of a mirror, and all that. And finally, on AI, I forgot to mention earlier, we have a WIPO conversation. It's global. On the 4th of November. It's online. Just type on Google WIPO conversation on AI. Especially as creators, you want to hear. There'll be conversations on what AI means for copywriting and a lot of all those issues. And it's at the global level. Okay, and you will be able to send in questions on that platform. So please it's the 10th conversation of such. We have it every year, particularly on frontier and emerging technologies. And so I think I really encourage you to be a part of it. Again, it's online. So really just log in here and expand your knowledge. The world is changing. You really should be equipping yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for the Creator Economy panel. Thank you very much. Let's take it.